In the United States, the average transaction price on new vehicles is $49,388. That's ridiculous. There are so many good cars available between that $30,000 to $40,000 mark. So today we're going to break them down with a tier list. Let's jump into it. All right, we are in the office. Let's go over what the tiers are and who our entrants are, because this $30,000 to $40,000 tier list has a ton of vehicles that qualify. And like all MoneyShift tier lists, we have a wide array of cars because not everyone wants an SUV and not everyone wants a sport coupe, so we got something for all of you. So let's go over the tiers. The buy now, this is the creme de la creme, the top of the mountain, the best in each respective segment. I highly recommend these vehicles and I'd put them at the top of your list if you're considering purchasing something new. The good buy category are cars that I would not fault you for purchasing. These are excellent vehicles, just not rated by me at the top of their class. The lease category is really car dependent, so I'll let myself describe that later on when I place vehicles in this category. And the why is pretty much, why? Better options exist. Why even consider those vehicles? And the runaway is pretty self-explanatory. Don't even put it on your list because it's garbage. Okay, let's get into the entrants, shall we? In the SUV class, we got a lot of them, so I'm going to rifle through them pretty quickly. The RAV4, the CX-50, and I'm also including the CX-5 there, the Outlander, the Rogue, the Sorento, the Sportage, the CRV, the Highlander. Boom, we got it. We got everything. There's a ton of vehicles there. I know that doesn't cover all of them, but if it's not on this list, it shouldn't be considered. And I know what you guys are saying. You're like, T, the Telluride starts at $34,000, but you're never getting one for that price. The markup on those cars is outrageous. So I tried to keep it to vehicles where you can get them in that sub $40K price category. In the sedan segment, we have the Accord, the Camry, the Jetta, and the Legacy, with the premium options being the A-Class, the Integra, and the A3. The sporty fun cars, the WRX, the Camaro, the GTI, the 230, and the GR86 BRZ. And the electric segment, we got the Bolt and the Nero, and the sporty-ish, off-roady-ish pickup truck thingies, we got the Frontier, Tacoma, and Bronco. Now, some notable cars that are missing from this list are the Mini Cooper EV and some other vehicles. Let me know which ones you would have wanted to see in this list, and I'll put them in ratings accordingly. But let's start with the meat of this list, the sales leaders, the SUVs, the cars that most of you are likely considering if you are in this price bracket. Now, the first one is going to be the Toyota RAV4, and that car gets a good buy rating. Now, the reason why I'm not putting this in the buy now is the existing Toyota RAV4 has been on the market for a long time, and as a result, it's very likely that Toyota is going to be revamping this vehicle because it's a bit archaic compared to its competition. Now, I wouldn't fault you for purchasing one. They're incredibly reliable, they're very spacious, and they're packaged well, and the hybrids have a ton of efficiency, and you can get a lot of RAV4 for under $40,000, but the fact of the matter is new options exist that you should consider over a RAV4 if you are looking to buy a car in 2023, and one of those options is the Mazda CX-50 and CX-5. Now, while these two cars are based on different platforms, they occupy the same real estate when it comes to size and pricing. The CX-5 and CX-50 are comfortable, are luxurious, are fresh, and their designs are such that they will look good for a long time. Mazda didn't take any big chances, they just created something that looked very classic, so major kudos. Definitely go check out a CX-5 or CX-50 if you are looking for an SUV in this price category. Now, the Mitsubishi Outlander, I'm going to put in the Y class. While I really love the design and aesthetic of the Mitsubishi Outlander, I truly think this is the closest thing we can get to a Citroën or a DS automobile or something like that. The fact of the matter is, it's not a market leader, and this three-row Nissan Rogue doesn't do anything special, and Mitsubishi's reliability doesn't give me much confidence, even though this is a Nissan Rogue. So I would put this in the Y category. Speaking of which, let's just go right to the Nissan Rogue. I'm also putting that in the Y category. The Nissan Rogue doesn't do anything better than its competition until you get to the top of its price range, and if you're in the high 30s to low 40s, you're better off considering other SUVs. Other SUVs like the CR-V. Honda recently revamped the CR-V and it is a world beater in my opinion. The hybrid drivetrain is the best in the segment. The interior and exterior, while not crazy and exciting, look good, clean, classic, which means this car will have a long life in terms of viz, right? This car will just look good in your driveway for a long time. Honda absolutely nailed the CR-V redesign, and consider the hybrid if you're looking for this car. Now we have a couple of Kias, the Sorento and the Sportage. I'm going to split these up here. I'm putting the Sportage in the Y category because I think the CX-5 and CX-50 are so much better than this car that you shouldn't consider it, even though it is a nice small 3-row option. And I'm putting the Sorento in the good buy category for all the same reasons that I gave the CR-V. It just does it a tier worse. The Sorento has a ton of features, great looks, and great efficiency in hybrid trim, and you can get a plug-in hybrid version if your budget extends a little bit past $40,000, but it's just not as good as the CR-V or the CX-5, CX-50, so because of that, I put it in the good buy. I wouldn't fault you for buying it, but I'm not buying it myself. But T, you're saying you haven't listed a 3-row in the buy now category. What's up with that? Well, that's because my 3-row category buy now option is the Toyota Highlander. It is the best in class, and now it has great options in the engine department. You can get a 2.4 liter turbocharged engine, hybrid, the whole nine. While the design has been out for a long time, Toyota has injected a lot of capital in revamping the Highlander to continuously keep it fresh. That's my buy now option, which means the Pathfinder is my good buy option. These are 1A, 1B for me, but the Highlander slightly edges out the Pathfinder, giving it that buy now rating. And that sums up our SUV segment. So my buy now options are the CX-5 and CX-50, the CR-V, and the Highlander. We have a sporty, fun, off-roady thing in the CX-50. We have a car that just does everything right in the CR-V, and we have a 3-row option in the Toyota Highlander that is world-class. In the good buy, we have the RAV4, Sorento, and Pathfinder, cars that don't do things as well as the buy now, but do things good enough that I would not fault you for purchasing one. And then in the Y category, we got a pair of Nissans in the Outlander and the Rogue, and we have a Kia Sportage. All right, let's move on to the sedans. We got the Accord, Camry, Jetta, and Legacy, and we're going to start from the end and work our way to the beginning. Run away from the Subaru Legacy. Run as far as you can away from this thing for a variety of reasons. Number one, it's the oldest on this list, and it just feels it in every way. Number two, CVT only transmission, and not a good one at that. Number three, its efficiency doesn't even compare to any of these other vehicles. And number four, its reliability is not so hot. So because of that, run away from the Subaru Legacy, and it leads us into the Jetta. It's almost as if we're going up this list. While the Jetta presents an immense amount of value at the price that you can get it for, from everything from the regular Jetta, which is actually sub 30, to the GLI Autobahn, which crests $33,000, $34,000, it just doesn't do anything special. This is a car that if we were judging it on stat sheets and specifications only, it would be in the buy now category. But because we aren't doing that, and there are some factors that go into this list, the Jetta is a Y. Now, if you got a Jetta when they first revealed this new body style, that would clearly be a buy now because it offered immense amounts of tech. The ambient lighting was the coolest, and the engine options were great, as were the transmission. But as this car is getting older, it's not aging so gracefully, so because of that, there are a lot better options, like the Toyota Camry. The Camry is always a good buy, and if anybody says anything other than that, they're wrong. There's a reason why Toyota sells so many of these. It just does all the things correctly, like a RAV4, and the only reason why it isn't getting a buy now is because it's old stock. I'm sure when Toyota revamps the Camry, it'll go right into that buy now on my tier list, but for now it occupies the good buy tier, with the Accord taking home the buy now spot for the regular average run-of-the-mill sedans. The new revised Honda Accord does all the things you want a vehicle in this segment to do. It offers non-hybrid and hybrid options. The hybrid offers incredible levels of efficiency, and it offers all the technology you could want, with high-level Honda Accords having Google-based navigation systems that react very quickly, very snappy, and the premium fit and finish on the inside makes you feel like you're driving a Benz or an Audi at Honda pricing. So that is my pick for the buy now class in this tier of vehicles. So we're going to move on to the premiums, where we got the A-Class, the Integra, and the Audi A3. The Integra, I'm going to put into, this is a hard one for me, because part of me wants to put it in the Y category because it's a zhuzhed up Honda Civic, but then the other part of me wants to put it in the goodbye category because it's the only vehicle in this segment that you can get with a manual transmission. But I think I'm gonna put it, yeah, you know what? That alone actually gives it reason, because while I would actually put the Audi A3 in the buy now category and the Mercedes in the Y category, the only reason why the Integra gets the nod over the Mercedes is that manual transmission. If that car didn't have it and you were relegated to only using that CVT, I would be a hard out on this car and probably put it in the runaway section, giving the Mercedes the nod. But because of that manual transmission, the Integra is a good buy. The Civic Si drivetrain in the Integra is fun. It's not fast, but it's highly economical, and the Acura Edge gives it a ton of tech, and the hatchback body gives it a lot of versatility. The problem is the Audi has more tech, the Audi has more power, and the Audi has a little more efficiency, and it does so for a really good price. The redesigned Audi A3 is a solid vehicle, and one that I would definitely consider if you want a premium vehicle but don't necessarily need the size of something like an Accord offers. All right, let's get into the fun stuff. We got a lot of options available in this fun category. The WRX, the Camaro, the GTI, the 230, and the GR86 BRZ. So where are we putting these cars? Well, I'm putting the WRX firmly in the lease camp, and I know what you guys are saying. T, what the heck? Why would you do that? Well, the reason why is pretty simple. While the WRX has a base price of a touch under $30,000, the lease rate of the WRX is insane. You can get an all-wheel drive manual sedan that has tons of space, not all the efficiency, not all the tech, but tons of fun to drive for under $400 a month with minimal money down, which is insane that you can get that level of car for that price. In fact, I almost did this myself. I had a black WRX queued up, ready to go, and last minute I went with the Ford Bronco. That's how much I like this Subaru WRX. Now, because of long-term reliability concerns and the fact that this isn't a technological juggernaut, that's why it's not a higher category. But the fact of the matter is, the depreciation rate on the Subaru WRX make it so the lease rate is very appealing, and a car that you can get out of in a couple years and get into something new and not hate the fact that you spent your years in that car. It's a great machine to lease for sure. Now, this is tough. This is actually really tough. The GTI, all right, I'm just going to put all of them in the category, and then we're going to talk about them. GTI is buy now for me. The BMW is goodbye for me. The Camaro is goodbye for me. And the GR86 BRZ is buy now for me. Actually, no, I'm going to put it in the goodbye category. I'm a little fake out on you guys, but let's go into why I'm putting these vehicles in these categories. The GTI might just be one of my favorite daily drivers of all time. That engine is so torquey. You can get it with a dual clutch that's very good, or a manual transmission, which is also very good. The car is super efficient, built like a bank vault. You can do road trips in that car very easily. And while the infotainment system is a touch annoying, you get used to it. You plug in Apple CarPlay, you plug in Android Auto, and it's just fine. The GTI is firmly a buy now for me, with one asterisk. This buy now rating is only for the S and SE models, not for the Autobahn. The GTI packs a lot of features into this car, and it is worth a good amount of money, but not 40 grand. You should not spend $40,000 on an Autobahn level GTI. For that money, get the Audi A3 that's right next to it, have more luxury, have the same engine, and have a better look. But for $32,000 to $35,000, the GTI is firmly in the buy now category, of which you can get there by getting the S or SE trim. Moving down to the good buy, I put 3 vehicles in that category: the 230, the Camaro, and the GR86, and I'm going to be a little bit quick here. The 230 is only available in base form for that price, and while that is a great car, you're missing out on things like the brakes, the M Sport kit, the diff, all that jazz. So because of that, it's only a good buy. This is a great car with a solid engine and back seats, but it doesn't have the tech needed for under $40,000 to push it in that buy now category. The Camaro is the fastest car on this list for under $40,000, with a V8 manual being available for that price. But if you want the SS1LE, which is the trim I would recommend for the Camaro, you're bumped up to above that $40,000 range. So because of that, this is only a good buy. And the GR86 BRZ is a car I highly recommend for under $30,000, but if you're spending $35,000, the car starts to lose a little bit of its luster. Now we have 2 electric vehicles, both of which are being firmly placed into the lease category. The Bolt EUV you can get with Super Cruise for under $40,000, which alone makes this car better, in my opinion, than the Nero and the Hyundai Kona. That said, though, the Kona makes a comeback because its lease rates are incredible, so these 2 cars are certainly in the lease camp. So with 3 vehicles to go, what do we got? We got the Frontier, the Tacoma, and the Ford Bronco. The Frontier I'm also putting in the lease category. Check your local Nissan dealer. You can get these things for an absolute song, absolute steal. You can lease these for under $300, and you'd be hard-pressed to find a better vehicle you can lease for that. The Toyota Tacoma is currently in the Y camp for me. This is in the year 2023. While this is still one of the most reliable vehicles on sale today, the fact of the matter is the Frontier provides just as much tech in a fresher form, and a new Tacoma is right around the corner, so I would just hold off. I would just wait a second, and I would consider looking at that machine. And the Bronco for me is a good buy, not a buy now, and that's because the $32,000 base model still goes for 38 G's. And while this car is a value at 32 grand, a base model Bronco is one of the best vehicles on the market today, in my opinion. At 40 G's, which is what they sell for on average, it doesn't hold a candle to this buy now list. I'm MoneyShift. This was our tier list with the CX-50, CR-V, Highlander, Accord, A3, and GTI filling in this buy now category. What do you guys think about this tier list? Are there cars that I forgot about? And if there are, let me know in the comments and we'll add them and talk about where I place them. Thank you everybody for tuning into today's video. I'm MoneyShift. Follow for more car news, videos, and motorsports updates.